Hey everybody, I'm Robert and I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. Today is Friday, so that means it's time for a 3-question blitz. First of all, hope you had a great week, and more importantly that you're getting ready to kick off a nice weekend. We're down here in Italy. Tomorrow's actually Annalise's 5th birthday, so we're getting ready to maybe celebrate with her a little bit, go out on the water and have some fun. And yeah, it should be pretty nice. But if you guys are in the Nürburgring area, head over to the Nürburgring, because Saturday and Sunday both is the VLN or the NLS, which is the Nürburgring Endurance Racing Series layout, which means you take the Nordschleife and combine it with the GP track. Tons of fun, one of my favorite layouts just for an occasional blast, because you do get the excitement of the Nürburgring and then the playfulness of the GP track, because you're not so concerned about runoff and things like that. So you can learn the limits of the car a little bit easier, have a little bit of fun, and get a change up of what's normal. A lot of people stay away this weekend also because they can't time themselves because there's a GP track in the middle. But honestly, if I was there, I would be out blasting the Pista and the 620R and having a little bit of fun in those cars. So go out there for me, have a little bit of fun, and let me know how it was. We've got 3 questions and of course a bonus. Question number 1 today is asked by you guys. Why is the 620R costing more money than the GT2 as a taxi, considering that the GT2 is faster? Very good question. Why is BBS bankrupt? Or what about BBS being bankrupt? And number 3, what do I think of Formula One coming back to the Nürburgring? Those are 3 really good questions that I'm excited to answer for you guys. But first of all, the bonus, and it's a bonus question about betrayal. Misha has betrayed me apparently, and rightfully so. He might have, if you guys didn't know the full story. But as you guys know, I'm very close to locking in a Groundies deal. Groundies is a shoe manufacturer, for those of you that don't know this, and this channel is not sponsored by Groundies yet. And so like I said, I'm very close to a Groundies deal, and Groundies doesn't know it yet either, but they're probably going to send me a truckload of shoes very soon, because you guys are doing a great job buying their shoes and mentioning that I sent you to them. But Misha recently got a set of Piloti racing shoes or driving shoes, and he knows that I'm on the verge of a Groundies deal. He knows that I'm working on some brand deals, and he's out there just looking after himself, maybe he's working on his own brand deal, we don't know. But the reality is one of our friends, a follower from Instagram, works himself with Piloti, and said, Robert, we have this new shoe. It's called a Piloti Apex shoe, and we'd like to send you guys a pair. What's your shoe size? So I gave him my shoe size, Misha gave him his shoe size, and our Piloti Apexes just showed up at Apex yesterday. I'm not at Apex, so I'm not able to show you mine. However, I'm going to ask that Tom and Bora get a picture of it, maybe by the 620 or the Pista or something like that, and I'll upload it on Instagram and let you guys see them. So who knows, maybe Groundies needs to look out, because I'm ready to lock in Piloti. We don't know. Things are heating up in the shoe brand deal department. I told you guys the big steps to becoming an official YouTuber are having brand deals that have nothing to do with what you're doing. So I think we're getting close. We've got 2 big options coming up. Anyhow, let's jump right into it. Question number 1 regarding the new McLaren 620R. I'm running it as a taxi. Why am I running it at 399 euro? Well, the GT2 is only 299 euro, and it's a faster car. So now you get to go slower for more money. Well, the reality is this: the 620R is a limited edition car. They originally planned on building 350 of them. It's quite an expensive car as well. Due to the coronavirus lockdowns, they're going to build less than 300 of these cars. They're chopping their production numbers all across the board, and we do not believe that over 300 will be built. So it is a limited edition car. It's also a car that I bought for me to operate as my taxi, if you would, as a car that I go out and have fun in, a car that I do my laps in, because I knew this was the exact car that I wanted to be built. That means that the boys aren't driving this car. It's only me. It's only available on specific days that I'm at the Nürburgring, that I'm at Apex, and it's a car that I have to share with you guys. The insurance to run a McLaren as a taxi is not cheap, and if you think that I'm probably only going to run 10 laps a month as a taxi with this car, I'm probably never going to be able to amortize my insurance costs out of it, even at 399 euro. So the cost alone to operate the car are going to be higher. Furthermore, we have a situation where it's only available when I'm available. So on 15 August, we have a young man named Brody who's going to be coming for his birthday. And on 15 August is a 1-hour session. So what I've actually done is blocked my entire hour, and I've blocked the car for the entire hour for Brody's birthday. His parents are going to pay $3.99, and he has a 1 hour session with the car to talk about it, to look at it, to take pictures, to do whatever he wants to do, and the car's locked up for that time. In the GT2, in that same time frame, we're going to do 4 laps. So you can see that the McLaren's going to take an hour of my time, and then it's only going to do 1 lap, 1 paid lap during that entire session, whereas the GT2 is going to do 4 times the laps, which means 1,200 euro versus 399 euro. So that's a big difference. As you guys know, it takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to make a video, and I make about 50,000 euro a video. So I could take that hour and just make way more money here on the YouTube, right? We all know that. But no, but seriously, it's a situation where it's an exclusive product. The minimum time that we're booking for the 620R is 30 minutes. So it simply comes down to what makes sense, how much time is going to be invested, and what does the customer get out of it at the end of it. It really is an experience to talk about the car, to talk about the Nürburgring, to talk with the Apex team, to talk with me, and just sit down and have a good time. And for that, we're allotting double the time in a car that's going to have much more trouble recouping its cost over the entire operation. This is something that we're doing for fun. I know you guys have seen it before. The taxi program isn't a huge profit item, and the 620R definitely will not be. So that's that. As you guys can tell, I'm not at Apex right now. That's why I'm sitting in front of a digital E92, which is just an amazing car. Absolutely love it, but you've got a couple of BBS wheels here. You've got some on the car, you've got some back on the rain slicks behind it, and that's because BBS is bankrupt. What's going on? What does that mean for BBS? What does that mean for us? What does it mean for the entire world that loves BBS products and needs to have it? Well, hopefully it means nothing. Hopefully it means that you get to read a little bit about it in the news over some time, and you're going to see that the BBS product line is going to continue and carry on. And why would I say this? This is the 3rd time in 15 years that BBS has filed for bankruptcy. Unfortunately, it's in an interesting market where it does have high quality products, high cost products. Probably unions are involved in some of their employee programs, and certain things have to be coordinated, high cost, etc. And we're at a situation where their costs are higher than their revenues and their incomes. It's a company that almost like McLaren has had a time of good times financially, bad times financially, etc. And all of a sudden with the coronavirus, there's a lot of companies that have not paid them. There are bills that have not come in, and they've had some issues. So the idea with the bankruptcy in this case, in my belief and what I've read and what I see, is that BBS is simply trying to restructure. They want to restructure, they want to clean up the business, they want to get rid of some bad debt that they can't quite carry anymore. They want to get rid of, or I say bad debt, just some overwhelming debt that they can't carry anymore. And filing bankruptcy gives them a couple opportunities. One opportunity is that they get something in Germany which is called Insolvenzgeld. This is a basically bankruptcy money that the government will step in for 3 months and actually pay their employees to cover their employee costs for the next 3 months while the bankruptcy proceedings are preparing and being heard. That's something that's going to save them a tremendous amount of money and possibly help give them the breathing room that they need to get through this. That's one point. Another point is they're going to look at restructuring the business itself, possibly selling off parts of the company or the entire company at a loss to a new owner who is going to be able to maybe invest some money, bring in some expertise, and restructure the company. You're going to have an administrator over the bankruptcy that's going to see through each decision that's going to be made, and he's going to approve those decisions and allow certain changes to be made, certain parts of the business to be sold off, etc. It is also my understanding that BBS had certain solutions and ways to go forward that could have bailed them out, even as far as some of their large customers, maybe auto manufacturers and such, that were willing to make prepayments on upcoming products that they were going to be buying in order to help BBS stay solvent. They, however, needed the support of several banks that they had loans out with, and one of the banks did not want to budge. They didn't want to help, and in fact, from what what I've read and what I understand, they've ended up selling some of the debt that they had against BBS for 80% or even 60% of its value. They sold that basically to a second-hand bank that takes that and buys 100 million. These aren't real numbers, but to give you an example, they buy 100 million worth of debt at 60 million euro at a high interest rate because the loan's been defaulted on, and then they hope to maybe only collect 70 million of it through the bankruptcy proceedings, and they've made 10 million on the deal. The other bank has written off their 30 million and moved along because a lot of banks would rather, in certain cases, take a loss, a fixed cost a calculated loss and move along, as opposed to carry this debt for the next 3 or 4 months and watch certain creditors get ahead of them in line and lose out on even more money. Cut the loss, move along. So they got a guaranteed 60% or 80% depending on the loan, and they moved along with a calculated loss, and they're, I guess I would not want to say happy with it, but they're content with it, and this other bank is going to step in and try and make some money. This is a great opportunity for BBS to be sold to another company. There is a company, I believe it was out of South Korea, that currently owns BBS, and that company also had the opportunity to invest more money into BBS, and they either couldn't or didn't want to, and so it was their decision at that point to let the company go into bankruptcy after negotiations with banks failed. The goal of BBS is to continue. The goal of BBS is to continue with both of their sides, which is their motorsport side, aftermarket side, if you would, and then their manufacturing side, which provides OEM products to different cars. I mean, even our GT2RS MR has the BBS gold wheels on it, which are made for Manthey Racing. So BBS will restructure. They're going to get there's going to be banks and there's going to be creditors that are going to lose money. For the most part, the employees should get most of their money. There may be some open ends and things like that will be difficult to tie up, but the employees will probably get most of their money. That's about 550 employees that they have. And like I said, the government's going to step in and pay 3 months of their wages through a certain German government. It's almost part of the unemployment program, if you would. The companies can pay into it over the years, or do pay into it over the years. And in the case of a bankruptcy, the government steps in and will cover 3 months of that. By this time, the bankruptcy proceedings should be sorted out and moving forward, and we'll know what the new BBS looks like. It may be without a certain division. They may not be making, who knows, certain parts in the future, or they may have to drastically downsize their workforce and streamline their operations, but obviously that's what they need. But expect BBS to continue. Expect to see them really even in the next couple months ramping up production and being back into building some beautiful E88s for us to put on all of our track cars. So that's that. Question number 3. What do I think about the Nürburgring getting Formula One back? It's not announced yet officially, but we know that it's happening. Tonight you're probably going to see an announcement that in October, I believe it's the 8th through 11th weekend, somewhere in there, that Sunday, that Formula One will be back at the Nürburgring. I think it's great. I think that the Nürburgring and Formula One have a long history. Really, I would love to see Nürburgring or Nordschleife and Formula One go together. That'll never happen for safety reasons. You don't have enough runoff. It's too big of a track. It's too bumpy. It's too demanding on the car. It just wouldn't happen. So the Nürburgring getting Formula One back to me is just another GP track getting Formula One. What does it mean for Apex? It doesn't really mean much for Apex. To be honest with you, Apex is all booked out that weekend except for one hotel room, so it doesn't mean that we get to make big money on a large event because everything is already planned. Our only hope is that there was another event that weekend that's getting canceled. Maybe those people will cancel and then we can charge normal Formula One weekend pricing for that. It sounds kind of lame, but that's really what the business is about, is you need to charge per the event and what the customers will pay based on what's going on at the time, supply and demand. So I think it's really neat. I've said it before that once the Nürburgring got new ownership, I firmly believed that the Formula One would come back to the Nürburgring, and they've done it even quicker than I expected. So to you guys at the Nürburgring, congratulations on securing a fantastic deal. It's something you guys should all be proud of. There's been a lot of work bringing that back and putting that together, I know. It's not cheap for a racetrack to hold such an event. And hopefully something like coronavirus is going to change that. You guys might correct me if I'm wrong, because I've not prepped for any of this stuff. This is all just me sitting down and talking. In order for Formula One to come to a racetrack, the racetrack generally has to put up a large sum of money for that to happen, and they need to recoup their commitment to the Formula One through ticket sales. And if ticket sales don't perform, then the track loses money, and that's why a lot of tracks stopped doing Formula One, was their marketing wasn't good enough, their sales weren't good enough, and they couldn't put together a strong enough actual sales and marketing plan to generate enough revenue to pay for what they had to commit to Formula One, and they were making losses. The hotels, the restaurants, the car parks, all this stuff around was making money, but the racetrack itself wasn't, and that was very difficult. So I hope that the Nürburgring was able to take advantage of coronavirus and that Formula One was able to say, hey, you know what? We have to cancel so many venues and so many races around the world that we're willing to give you guys a deal to get you back on the schedule. So I really hope that that's how it went. Maybe you guys will have some more information on that and you can share in the comments below. Speaking of that, you guys are really doing well in the comments. I'm really enjoying seeing everything you're bringing up and all the ideas you have. So please continue that. I need some questions for next week. I need a couple topics for this week coming up. We're going to talk about the AMG Black Series. We're going to talk about a 620 versus 600 LT. I'm going to put some really cool stuff up on my big screen since it's going to be my backdrop while we are here. We've got a couple cool videos that are still lined up from when I was back in Germany still. And maybe on Sunday you'll see the Pista going out with a M3 that sounded absolutely amazing. I loved it. Really enjoyed that. So maybe you guys will check that out on Sunday. We'll see. But anyways, keep it up. Give me some great ideas, some topics that you'd like to hear about, and we'll touch base on it. We'll catch you guys later, and thank you so much.